What's up, y'all? This is Rom coming back at you with yet another car video. Black women check for black men with swag. And you know what? And let me just be clear, because I'm going to tell you what, when I talk most of the time, I'm talking in general. So what I say can be applied to any race, any group, no matter where they are on the planet. Very general, but whatever I always say, there's still cultural nuances and stuff. Today, I wanted to address the whole thing about the men that black women want to check for, because let's be real, in this general sector, there's a lot of stuff, a lot of back and forth between black men and black women, a lot of back and forth. And usually it's from one particular group of black men. And it can range from guys who might call themselves TFLs, guys who might identify with the black pill, guys who call themselves black nerds, and really even the passport brothers. Let's just be real. Because what are they mainly saying? We don't want to deal with these American women. That's what they're saying, you know? And, you know, that's understandable. I don't got nothing against any of it, but you know, I'm just moved to just talk about that overall thing because, you know, some I've said before and some I've peeped. Every racial group, because let's be real, fuck the political correctness. There's obviously physical differences between the races, melanin, you know, cultural differences, and really, shoot, even stuff like rhythm and all of that. There's differences. There's no problem with it. It's only a problem when people discriminate against it, you know? You know, a Rottweiler and a German Shepherd, they both dogs, but they still different, and that's the only thing. But if we're going to talk about relationships in the black community, and I've talked about class, religion, and all of that, but if we're going to talk in general terms, very general too, there's always going to be an exception. I don't care what you talk about. Black women check for men who have that thing called swag. And what is that? Now, you know, people say, well, it's how you dress and all of that. You know, the youngins will call it drip. And all, but it's not just the appearance, but it's how cool you are. And the physicality comes into it too. So, you know, brothers expected to be fine. But, you know, you don't have to be, you know, well, let me be clear on something. And this is something I have a criticism of. American black men should take anything said by some European face raider, and there's a few of them I've seen, with a grain of salt. They ain't over here. Now, if you want to deal with European women, okay, listen to what they say. But if you're talking about dealing with American black women, you know, they ain't measuring jaws and shit. Only thing you could say they'll look into is height. That's the only thing. But they ain't measuring jaws. It's different what they're gonna go for, you know, because things like within the American black community, things like your skin complexion and your hair grade play an important part. Let's just be real. Let's be real. And, you know, whatever the trend is, like, for the time being, beard game. Shaved head and beards. You know, if you're older, younger, you better have a fly-ass haircut or something. But all of that's part of swag. Because, and I was thinking about that shit because, like I said, you got a lot of brothers, even online. Now, I don't call out names or anything because I don't want anybody to think I'm going in on them or something. But I'll listen to what they say and I'll take one look. Because you got a lot of brothers, you know, they might be talking about, yeah, do this for the woman, do that. But, yeah, that's good for getting some white girls or something, or maybe women of other races. But it's totally different with the sisters. Even some guys who would be considered handsome, you know, in general, the sisters might be like, nah, he don't got no swag. He don't got that cool. And let me be clear, it don't necessarily mean having tats or being a pookie. Because that's a big complaint. You know, a lot of guys feel like, well, nah, I ain't a street thug. That swag is still present. or needing some type of swag is present even within black upper middle class. In professional circles, you still gotta have a certain look to you, a certain way you carry yourself, a certain way that you even speak. And it's something to really pay attention to. It's something to really pay attention to, because there's a lot of back and forth, but no, that's the standard. Because just like with men, let's just be real, man. A fat ass, I stand as a fat ass. And that's why I say, you got to take whatever said by somebody outside of the community with a grain of salt, and really don't even pay attention to it. Really don't even pay attention to it. Like, you got some of these, you got some white content creators saying, oh, well, you got to be super slim and all of that. Shh, please. Meanwhile, you get some brother, got some like stockiness to him or something, but he got that swag. Shit, yeah, I've had about 5 baby mamas. Shit. Hell, in fact, I'll share something from the Iyanla show from some brothers who had multiple baby mamas. What? Anyway, it's just a different look. It's a different thing, a different way you gotta carry yourself. But getting back to, I don't know, a general term, I'll just say black non-select men. Black non-select men. Particularly ones who specifically want American black women. It's going to be tough, because I'm going to tell you what, I think, and I've been thinking hard. I'm trying to think hard. When have I known, I'll say black nerds or something. When have I ever known or seen a black male nerd with at least decently attractive woman? That's one thing I gotta think hard. Like, you can see a white nerd or Asian nerd with a decent woman, but not a black nerd. I'm trying to think. I be thinking hard too. Now, a guy with some nerdy interests, yeah, you see that. But see, nerdy interests and just physically looking like a nerd or something, it's two different things. Not having that, like, what they consider fine, what they consider fine, a particular woman. And like I said, it could be different what they consider fine, but in general, because like I said earlier, in the American black community, we looking at shit like hair grade and actual skin complexion, and that influences a lot. Because I'll tell you what, most of the women I've gotten with who were black were also light complexion. Seriously, they were also light complexion. They be loving chocolate brothers, but then some sisters, around the same complexion, I had to work hard. I had to work my ass hard. So, it is what it is. But it's something, because when I look at a lot of these brothers complaining, I can honestly, seriously, because, me, I don't be judging somebody else's look, but I can get a sense of who's considered cool and who's considered, with swag, got that thing. Because that's just a matter of how they wearing their clothes and how they carrying themselves. And that's the thing. Or even speech intonation. I remember I was talking with a sister, and she was talking about, she was checking out a particular black male content creator. I could call his name, but I'm going to keep him out of it. She was saying how she liked, one of the things, how he spoke and everything. So all this stuff, matters and everything. But the dudes who not getting it, they don't have that cool. And this ain't saying anything wrong with not having that cool. I'm just explaining something. That's why they probably say, what, I need to deal with a woman of another race. Seriously. In fact, I've told some sisters that who've complained about brothers getting with women of other races. I said, you wouldn't want them. Is it cool for you? In fact, I challenged a bunch of sisters on that. Because I used to, I've challenged several sisters on that. Because I would say to them, they'll see a brother with a white woman or a woman of another race. I said, okay, how many sisters you think would get with that particular brother? Would really want him if they saw him walking by himself? And several had to come back to me, and they were just like, they'd be like, either didn't see anybody, or they'll say something to me like, Okay, Ron, I saw one out of like 50, something like that. And it's something to really think about. It's something that's not talked about, because like when you even get the sisters talking about a shortage of good men, it depending on their class, shortage of the ones they consider fine. Seriously. And it's something, and I thought about it because, you get a lot of guys. Like I said, you get a lot of guys, and, they definitely focused on, what's going on. That's why I said passport bros, everything. Because let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about that. I don't think anything should be said to them. I mean, sisters, some dudes will say, well, they just don't want what's here. Well, what's here don't necessarily want that. They just want somebody to treat them nice. Seriously. And if it ain't working here, or, they ain't cool enough or got that swag or fine enough, what the fuck they supposed to do? Seriously, that's why I don't see the issue. I really don't. You got to go where you celebrate. But that's the issue. And then I'm going to tell you why I would bring it up. See, if I were to get in a conversation, and I've gotten in these conversations, I ain't talking about just on YouTube. I've sat on panels. Of course, some hell too, because I sat on panels. I said, hey, y'all complain about those guys, but do y'all want them? I was there was in the audience for one such panel. I was just in the audience. I could have got on the panel. They had already got 6 guys, but 5 of them were at the event venue. And the number 6 was late, and they would hit me up because, they had worked with me before. See, I want to get on there. I said, nah, I just want to sit back and chill. And, I remember a couple sisters, they actually stood up and said the brothers weren't shit on the panel. I'm like, well, hold up. Why not? These guys are working. They want to get with y'all. What's the problem? But they weren't fine. And even with that Pookie and Ray Ray thing in the black community, like I know a lot of brothers, they seeing these women get with the Pookies, Ray Rays and stuff. Ask the women who get with them one simple question: how fine are they? How fine are they? And that's something that's always been in the black community. Like when I see that what a lot of people will say, or they acting like it's some new shit, I was like, nah, they always been that way. Always been about like the looks and your behavior, how cool you are. Always. That fine, like just being physically fine, physically attractive. But even they even, like I said, even the physically attractive ones had to have some type of swag to them, some style, some coolness. That's just a cultural thing now. We can argue all day whether it's right or wrong. It just is, though. It just is. Because like I said, every culture, every single culture, they're going to have some nuance. And, even, Africa, because I remember someone in a comment to a video I did last week had said, something about shaved heads. They were down in Zimbabwe. Now, they specifically said, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like if you have a shaved head in Zimbabwe, you look like you might be a criminal. But if you're in South Africa, you look cool. So everybody, depending on the region, what it is. Also, really, even the physicality. That's why I say with body game, just period, and this is regardless of race, it depends on where you at and who you're dealing with. Like I said, like in the black community, a brother don't have to be like super lean to get a woman. In fact, you need to have some meat on him, really. You need to look like he can pick up some sisters. And then I was actually, like the other day, I happened to have a film on from Nigeria. This ain't talking about it, but this is just giving an example of how something is different. And I was looking at the main, the 2 main characters. And I think there was a 3rd character going to be in, but, this dude was stocky. This dude, I was like, he wasn't no slim dude, And then the women in it, man, they were thick. I was like, good Lord, girl. I was like, bam, like curvy and all that. But it's a different culture. But specifically talking about the American black culture and the type of guys that, in general, the sisters are going for. It's not about It's bigger than the Pookie. Like I said, there's some Pookies out there who women who ain't getting the time of day. I still never forget. I almost got in a fight with a couple Pookies because they weren't getting no pussy. Somebody had to break them up, break us up, because they were complaining. But they were Pookies though, you know. But women might not have seen them as fine Pookies who had, you know, that coolness. Because that's why even some guys within the black community, they can get the earrings, they can get the tats, and still had trouble. They don't got that swag, that certain rhythm and everything, you know. And it's something, like I said, it's something that got to really be addressed. Not get mad at, addressed. Like if people want to change it, like the mainstream culture within the black community will have to change. Because even with that, it depends on like where you at, what social class, and it's going to be nuanced. Like I was saying, like if you look at if you talk about that coolness, swag, even physical features, it could be a slight difference between like the black upper class and how they look and the you know, the streets. You know, it's just a different style to it. Because if you're in like say bougie circles, you know, you got those tats and those earrings and stuff, they're gonna be like, So it depends too, but it's still a swag there. It's still a swag. Because I always tell you about that time I went to that like upper crust party. I had to look like this. I had to look clean cut like a motherfucker. Yeah. Oh, and people see this and stuff, good. Like I said yesterday, if I shave like this, either spiritual reason or I'm going to war. Right now it's going to war. And y'all don't need to know what for. But anyway, that's something that's really, I mean, seriously, it really got to be talked about. And, you know, and that's what I would say with brothers in general. If you trying to get with if you trying to get with a sister. Now, if you ain't, okay, you can listen to some of these other guys saying, oh, you got hair this, you that. But that's why, you know, I'm like, motherfuckers be listening to some black pillars out of Europe. I'll say, man, bring your ass to Baltimore. Bring your ass to D.C., Philly. You know, seriously. It cracked me up so like brothers would go to some like face raid out of Europe and ask them some shit, man. The fuck you asking a white boy for? Seriously. Especially if you trying to get a sister. You need to go find some brothers around the way and ask them. Or actually, they wouldn't say anything. They just tell you get your hair cut and shit. You know, get some nice shoes. You know. Oh, and that's another thing too, because there was some European trolling stuff had a problem with me talking about shoes to get your dick sucked. Well, I can't speak to where he at, but you gotta have your shoes right, especially in the black community. And now, like I said, it's not right or wrong, it just is. It's just, I don't care where you go, it's gonna be a different nuance. It's gonna be a different nuance and stuff. Because even in America, that's one thing I'll give the white community. A nerdy white guy can still get some play as long as he's making some money or something, as long as he can provide. And that's what I've seen, and it's like, it's more about function and shit, which I give them. Now, there's still going to be some nuances, but you got a better shot. You know? Because really, attraction anyway has always been biology filtered by culture. It's always been that way. Oh, man. Yeah. Yeah, I gotta get some leg day today. But yeah, it's something to think about, seriously. If we just gonna talk about just within the black community, it is what it is. It is what it is. You know. And sisters know. They'll tell you. They're just like, nah, he ain't fine. In fact, some of them, they'll interchange the word swag with fine. You know, so that's why you gotta have a certain look. That's why I say beard game is popular. Shoot, even on IG or something, when you see like those fine IG women, when they show their man, the man be like, boom. It's like shit. When they show their man, you know, you got some guys talking when you talking about those sisters' big fat asses on IG or something. When they bother to show their man, shoot, I say most of the time, beard game, shaved head and beard game. If they older, younger, fly haircut. You know, got that drip. That's a big ass crow. Good Lord. God damn. Wait a minute, a bunch of crows landing and shit. There's an issue now. Must be some food around here. Anyway though. But nah, that's the thing. That's the thing. That's why I say even with body game and stuff, man. If you're dealing in the black community, you still want a good body, but you know, you don't have to have no some of that shit the Europeans and white boys be talking about, man. You gotta just be in good shape, have that swag, everything, you know. So, you know, and I know somebody say, man, why you making it racial? No, I'm just real, man. I ain't putting anybody down. I'm just saying how shit is. Damn, look at that fat butt sister. Like I said, we be checking out the booties and shit. Yeah, you got all that, you good to go. Okay, people just leaving food around here. You know, on a spiritual basis, God make sure all the birds get fed and everything. But anyway, though, let me take a couple things in, man. Go get my food, everything. But anyway, yeah, man. Just how it is, and it's something to seriously consider. And you know, I say for the women. I'll tell the women. I'll say, look, don't get mad at these guys going interracial or going overseas. Don't get mad at them. You didn't want them. It's that simple. You know, don't get mad at them. Stuff it just is what it is. And if a brother still seriously want a sister still, well, for whatever reason, you know, you gotta have that swag, man. You know, you gotta have that style. You know, you gotta have even that speech intonation. It is what it is. Because, you know, Rom's just going to be real about shit. You know, you want that big fat woman, you know, that big fat ass and shit. You want to back it up. Well, if you really want it, you got to have some things. If that's what you want. If not, get the passport. You know, or there was some of another race. But it is what it is, man. It is what it is. So anyway, I'll get back with you.